What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Taps Tuesdays. I'm your host, Mardy, and I am joined today by...
Tristan Pugh, not Pug or Pooh. Pugh.
Sam Pearson. I mean, how do you follow that? Like, I don't know, whatever.
Betty Smile. And yeah.
Yep. Today we're just gonna... Yeah, episode 5. Wow, can you believe it's been like at least a month now.
At least a month, oh my god.
At least... and we're just gonna talk about sort of the last week in Yu-Gi-Oh! And we have a couple of topics prepared to talk about. It's gonna be a bit of a shorter episode just because not much has happened. But we'll start by talking about the extravaganzas that happened this weekend, both the English and the German ones. Any thoughts on those guys?
I hate them all. The guy that won the English one is playing Dragoon and Dragon Link.
I had never heard of that guy before. I played Speed Duels for like a week, and that's the only time I ever heard of Danique de Jong. And now apparently he's a really good like actual player.
He qualified for the last invitational, I think, as well. But like,
I think
yeah,
so.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure he got a caricature done.
yeah, he's played like loads of remote duel stuff. It's mad.
Yeah, I really don't like his list. He's playing like 2 Veiler, a Phantasme, 3 Droplets, 2 Talents, a Red Ice Fusion, 2
What
Guard
Phantasme?
Dragon.
A Fanta isn't that bad in like Dragon Link. You can justify it.
Yeah, because you can summon it off Seal, right? And then you
I
get
don't
some form of
disagree
protection
with
for
it.
the
I don't
rest.
disagree with that bit. It's just like all of it in like combination.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we haven't really seen in Dragon Link in this
Yeah.
deck list before, and it's just
Yeah.
a couple of the ratios don't...
You're like, actually, do you remember that Kaiser Loonlight list Gabriel used to play, where Curious was like, oh, you need to play Curious, but you got the 3 mills, and if you mill that, oh, your engine's over.
Yeah.
It like doesn't Chaos Rule do
Yeah.
exactly the same thing for Dark Magician?
Nah, but if you
Yeah.
mill Dark Magician or Red Eyes, you can just add it to your hand, and then the Red Eyes Fusion isn't dead.
Yeah.
But what if you
It's a
mill
bit
both
weak, innit?
and Red Ice Fusion?
Then you're
Yeah,
doing-
if you
then
mill
you're
Red Eyes
doing-
Fusion, there's no going back.
There's no good...
The issue is as well,
Oh.
he's playing like the Selene access code stuff, and he's put Dragoon in there, and I just don't know what he cut, even though I'm playing Dragon
He's
Link
got-
myself. Like,
He's playing one.
oh,
He's playing
IP and Unicorn, IP and Unicorn. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's got like 5 different ways to game shot you. He's got the Dragoon, he's got the access code, he's got the bot. He's got 3 different ways to game
Yeah,
shot
literally.
people. This is
Selene
crazy.
is broken with Dragoon. Selene just brings back Dragoon.
Oh, yo, wait.
Yes, true.
That's mad.
I
that's
keep
mad.
forgetting it's not a dragon.
Yeah.
He's also siding 1 Mystic Mine.
Yep.
just-
That card's
just one.
broken though.
Consistency.
Yeah,
isn't
just one, just as a treat.
Like,
It's a
In the
tree.
English, as a treat, yes, of course.
tree.
We also saw 2 Altergeist deck lists in 3rd and 4th.
Yeah.
Betty, you're the resident Altergeist player. What are your thoughts?
It's just very English, isn't it, really? Like,
It really is.
it's just like...
It's
like,
British. Though.
Yeah, like, it's the most British thing I've seen in a while. to be
If there
honest.
was like a reason other than myself for why I don't have a regional top, it would be this deck specifically.
Bro, it literally took me to like going to the
I just
Mystic
can't-
Mine to get a regional top of Altergeist. Like,
Literally, like
I played it for like
it's-
all of the format when Faker came out, and I couldn't get a regional top. But like, Mystic Mine was the only way I could like do well with that deck.
people are making it work. People are just making it work.
These,
Yeah.
these ratios are nonsense. How do
Yeah.
they both agree that like 2 Effect Veil is definitely the correct ratio of Effect Veiler?
Yep.
Like one guy like commits to like 5 hand traps, and then 4th place is like, no, I want to play 8, but I only want to play 2 Effect Veiler.
No, he's playing Skullmaster
Oh,
as well.
Yeah,
he's
playing
Skullmaster.
3-2-2-2,
He's playing what?
If
12?
we're not-
Yeah.
and then 3 imperm. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to know how
Oh,
many
I
times
like
they
it.
like FTK'd someone with Impem Faker.
Impem Faker,
Like,
yeah.
That's
I
such
bet
a
it was
myth.
every game.
Never
I
happened.
bet it was every game.
It has to be like every other match if this deck is to like do this well,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I guess so.
It's kind of
um,
cute he was playing Secret Village. I don't think it's great,
Yeah.
but like...
I think it gets you there in most matchups,
Yeah, I feel
right?
like it
Like
gets
because
you
every
there,
deck
like,
is like
with all the
power
trap spells,
spells.
yeah, I mean,
Every-
like
Everything plays Veiler, just normal summon Veiler, and it gets turned off.
Oh yeah, true.
I'm curious that he's
That's
playing Metaverse but no Mine as well. Like he values the Secret Village
fine.
over
He
the.
Doesn't
doesn't
even
want to
side
go
it.
to the Mystic Mine, bro.
Not even in the side.
Bro, he doesn't want to go there.
I think it's broken
Oh,
with
God.
mine.
Yep.
Oh
Mm.
no. I'm a dog
We saw a lot of
tree.
Tri Brigade as well, various
Yeah,
zoo
that's
and
like-
cat variants. That's just again another. Would you say that's becoming like an English trend as well? Because I don't think we saw
No, I feel
nearly
like it's
this
just
many.
a European thing. Everyone's on Tri Brigade, personally.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it's
'cause
because
in the
it's
Germans
like
as well.
I think the amount of players entering the events is going up, and people are rightfully looking this deck as too monkeyed not to do okay with. And
Yeah, it's like the safest deck you could ever pick,
Yeah.
right?
so it's so safe.
Mhm.
Like, I
As
don't
long
want
as
to
you can
innovate.
avoid-
I don't want to do anything different. I want to make the same play every single turn and hope that it resolves every single match.
Yeah.
Literally, like,
I'm seeing more Ignista topping than I was expecting though.
Yeah,
But,
I think that was one in each one.
There's one made top 8 in the UK, got 10th as well, and there were one or two in the German as well. I mean, it's a good deck, but I don't think this is the right meta for it, so I'm surprised it's doing that well.
Yep, we're also seeing a lot of VW. There was one Drytron in each one. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I'm really surprised that Drytron isn't doing better. Like, especially with like the June stuff, it seems like
I think it is.
Kinda hard
It's just
to
because, like, look at every single list, right? Like, look how many hand traps are in there. Like,
it's just getting gate kept. By hand.
I think it's really struggling to work out how it actually wants to build, just because so many people are playing so many hand traps. I mean, the one that did, I think only one topped in the UK, right? And he got 16th. It's playing
Yeah.
45 cards. So
The
I think
builds are
that,
all so vastly different as well.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
so-
the one in the UK was playing pre-prep. The one in Germany was playing like prosperities and things like that as well. So
Yeah.
they're like wildly different.
yeah, but I think it's just a case of like, this is obviously a really good deck, but it's in a pretty challenging format because people are so scared of it. But I think
Yeah.
once people figure out this is probably the optimal way to go into like such a wide range of hand traps in the format, it'll probably be, you know,
wait a sec. Oh my god, more Ignista tops than Drytron in the UK.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yep.
Have you seen the 5th place German?
No.
The
Fifth
class-
place
the
I'm
German.
class-
going to
with-
German in a
Classic.
second. I want to comment on one last English.
Oh,
deck.
is this the pile?
This is
Oh,
no. This
can we
is
not
the,
talk about the pile?
the fo-
The
no, this
remote
is,
build staple.
no. This one is the 42 card 11th place try cat deck. He's just playing 18 hand traps. Like
He is.
He's just playing 18 hand traps.
He's
No, but
vibing.
Yeah.
that list is so clean.
It is clean, but he's just playing 18 hand traps. Like, he just doesn't care.
Vibing,
he's literally
bro.
playing 3 offs all the way down aside from Call By and Revolt at 2.
And
Yeah.
just-
And Imperial Order.
Oh, Imperial Order, yeah, but you'd play that at 3 if you could as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's just mad. Oh,
yeah,
he's playing,
I'm surprised he's not playing Gamma, given you're playing Cat. I'm
I feel like that's
very
18 hand
surprised
traps,
at that.
bro. Like, if your cat
Just got a
doesn't
Phantasme
resolve,
in it.
it's fine. Your opponent's one isn't
Yeah, but-
resolving either.
What do you mean you've got cat 5 hand traps? What are they doing?
Yeah, bro. And then you top deck Fractal next turn. It's free.
Exactly, it's fine.
Fair enough.
I like that he's playing Sky Cavalry. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for cat.
Yeah,
as well.
I've
Is
seen
that
a few
Dragoon
people.
if they've already used it, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, sure.
Wait, what was the pile deck? Is this the 15th place?
This is the 5th place German.
Oh, 5th place German.
Yeah, we've seen this pile like a few times in the remote duel.
Oh, is
season.
this the... Oh,
It's like
no.
every-
Oh my
Um,
god.
Oh,
Every
no.
German extravaganza.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's
With
every time.
same exact deck.
Same guy, same
That's-
deck. It just works.
Destiny Draw Guru.
It literally is
It's
Destiny
very-
Draw.
Deidre
Guru.
Guru.
Like, he's
Oh,
he's literally a breathing dueling skill.
You know what,
Yep.
like... As long as he's not cheating, fair play to him.
He's even got cherries and Shurag in
Yeah.
the side.
Yeah, but he's got a load of like Cherry's targets in the main deck, right?
Yeah,
Hasn't he
the
surely?
issue, the issue I have is, like... Do you just see how many 2-offs are there?
Bro's playing Noah's Ark, innit? They will go in twos,
Noah's
as
Ark,
Jacob Harbour would say.
Wait, he's not even playing Prosperity.
Yeah, like...
Why would you need Prosper if you can draw whatever card you want anyway?
True, yeah. You've
Oh my god.
Let's not throw any wild accusations
I mean,
out there.
to be fair, I'm a little bit disappointed he's not playing free prologue at least. But like,
Prologue is like the broken one. Right?
yeah,
like, that's
like,
the thing that just
that's
like.
one of the ones
Now,
I actually want to draw.
He's playing 4 prologue. He's got 2 trap trick anyway.
Pog.
In a 60 card deck.
Yeah, that does that. Actually, that does annoy me as well. He's playing like only 2 trap trick, but he's playing like so many 2-off traps. Like,
Yeah. He's fully accommodating trap trick, but not fully committing to trap trick.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of
I think this guy just
like-
wants to have fun. Like he
Yeah,
just like
true.
sees whatever the deck gives him, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna play this deck now. Like he sees the Guru
Yeah.
engine, and he's like, all right, I'll play Guru now. He sees the Nadir, he's like, okay, I'm playing Shadow now.
Yeah, like
Bro's just
fair
here to have a
play
good
that, like,
time.
if he got there, he got there. But
Cool. Any final thoughts on?
a lot of
on the
Virtual
Extravaganzas?
World tops the German one.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
think
it's
none
been
top the
picking
UK
up in
one, right?
popularity. Yeah, I mean, Virtual World has like in general been picking up on popularity recently, just because its matchup spread against a lot of things is really good.
That is
it's
really
just-
good every time it gets to play.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Its
has to
matchup
play, right?
spread is like super favorable. It's just one of the brickier decks, right?
Yeah, I think Virtual World's probably suited for a longer event because looking at what did well in the UK, I mean, 2 Alter guys did top 4, man. Like, what's the Virtual World matchup like for that?
It's got to be abysmal.
Pretty good, right?
No, it's got to be
gotta be-
abysmal.
You think so?
How
With things like-
how is like Virtual World one playing through like what, I don't know, 12 hand traps first, and then like
Yep.
you've also just got like Marionetta set protocol trap card.
Yep.
I mean, if you're
what's it
thinking
called?
about
Faker.
engine, right? You've got
Imagine-
Shen, you've got Chuche. If you manage to set that stuff up,
Like,
like,
it's
you
just
can do
Chuche,
that
it's
through
literally
one or
just
two.
Chuche. It's literally just Chuche.
Chuche, I think Shen's pretty good in the matchup, no?
Well,
Because
no,
it's a recurring body and like having the macro as well.
Stops Meloseeks it.
You stop getting value off of like.
Yeah, but then you manage
I
to
guess with
send in
Meloseeks,
like,
yeah.
step
Yeah.
one. I don't know. I think it's. I don't think it's a
I
bad
don't.
deck.
I don't want to sit and discuss Virtual versus Dice.
Also this.
Fair enough.
Um,
No, I am with you on that one, Tristan.
What else?
Yeah,
Did anything else happen
Oh,
this
there's-
weekend?
I think that's it.
Oh, I'm gonna
Any
go
other
with my
closing
personal
thoughts?
story then. I went to
Oh
locals.
yes, of course. Yes,
I thought
you
it
did
was.
go to locals again.
I thought it was roughly an hour from my house. It was 1 hour 50.
Oh god.
It was. Yeah. Wait. So this is where it all got doomed. I took Moffat and Marcus with me to locals.
Uh-huh.
Don't forget this bit. Marcus pulled a Cyber Dragon, of course.
Yep.
Amazing.
I gave him my entire deck. It's like here, I think.
Yep.
And then I got a draw with him. It was great.
Oh, brilliant. Isn't that your like first like not win against Marcus?
No, I lost to him
In
in
a
a UK Open, the last round of the second UK, the second UK Open, and then I got
Okay.
ninth, so that was a pretty good loss.
Oh god.
Um,
Yeah.
but no, it was fun. I haven't played like proper IRL Yu-Gi-Oh in a while, so it was pretty nice.
Yeah.
And seeing
I think
Moffat
everyone's
playing
been-
was seeing Moffat play was a highlight personally.
Yeah,
he
it's
must be like so
Oh my
disoriented
God,
because he
his
wasn't
first
playing
match-
like throughout
It was
lockdown
his, he
either.
said it was his first match of Master. Are we 4 or 5 now? I can't remember.
We're in
4.5, I think they call it.
Whatever first
Really?
like
That's
match
still
of this
4
Master
revisions.
Rule. Yeah, his first like match of this Master Rule, and he just like overlays for Time Star in Extra Monster Zone, and he's like, oh no,
Oh no, I can do this anywhere else.
I can't link it away. What do I do? Like, I'm just doomed. But
Anyway.
no, it was good.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's the rest of the topic? I've forgotten already.
Yeah, so we were going to briefly discuss just generally improving at Yu-Gi-Oh! And how we've gone about it and what ways we figured out that helps us sort of improve and engage with Yu-Gi-Oh! And how certain things we've done have helped over time. So, take it away, guys. Like, what do you guys think has helped you improve the most?
Sam's the most accomplished player. I want to hear how he improved.
God, right. For a long time, I literally just went to locals, went to regionals. If I topped, I topped. That was it. I went to ICSs, made day 2. I did all right. But then I started properly sweating DB for like 2 weeks before events. And then as long as you're sweating with a deck that's near enough what you're going to be playing at the end of it, I think you just feel a lot more accomplished with the deck when you actually get to it.
Yeah.
And that's basically all it is.
Yeah. What do you
Literally
think?
just practice.
Yeah. What do you think contributed more to your sort of general improvement? Would you say it's the sort of years prior to that sort of process, or did you see a big jump when you started actually like testing for events beforehand?
So I tested for events usually playing jank decks like Cyber Dragons in 2016. That was, and then I just went through phases of like not really putting too much time in, more just viewing this as a social thing rather than something to like actually try and like compete
Try
at.
to be,
Yeah, and then I just started putting time into the right decks, and that's it.
Yeah, because I remember like when you sort of started getting more competitive per se. That sort of started with Zoo format as well. That's when you sort of said, "Okay, I'm going to pick this deck up. I'm going to try and."
No,
this
so
out."
I
But, like,
bought that deck and thought, oh, this deck will just carry me, and it sort of did.
Furthest thing
but then,
from what actually happened.
Yeah, so like it's obviously good for locals, but that was the main thing I was really going to at that point. And then when I started going to regionals, I was against other people that were similarly both carried and good at the game, and then just started playing more, and that was it.
Yeah. Okay. I'd
Zoo
say I like.
format,
Right?
Zoo format is like the turning point for me as well. It's like going from like casual to more competitive. Because like before Zoo format, I would just play like whatever deck I could afford. It was like I think the deck I played before that was like Volcanics or something, and then I just like fully committed. Like initially, like after whatever they said the diagram came in, like Maximum Crisis or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play True King Dino, and I'm just gonna get really, really good at that deck because that deck gives me fun. And I started playing that, and then I realized that like, oh, Zoo is just like infinitely better.
Yeah.
And so then I'd already bought 3 diagrams, and then I was like, I just buy a full Zoo deck. I don't care. So I like just spent all my money on like buying a Zoo deck and literally just going to locals. So I was still in mid Wales at this point, but I had like a friend who was like, he'd been testing Zoo for like months because like he was like really big into OCG format. So he had been like testing Zoo for ages, and he was really, really good. And so me and him just like tested like non-stop, to the point where I felt like I was like the best I could possibly be at playing Zoo at like a certain point. And I was like grinding like online like war things like Iron Man basically is what like the modern version of it is. And I was like playing tons of them. That's like how I got to meet Herman. And so I was like sweating them like I was putting like all my free time into just playing Zoo. Like playing Zoo Mirrors, playing versus Zoo Draco, playing versus Draco, like every single matchup. And like it got to a point where I was like, I don't think I can get any better with the resources I have. And I was still behind when I ended up going to Euros, because like I just didn't have like a testing circle really. So like I had no idea that like Shuffle Reborn was a card that people played, and I was literally playing like Tensu.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember saying that is.
It came up once. My 100 attack Rapier attacked do or something.
Yeah. I think that segues us nicely into the second thing we wanted to talk about is like testing in a group and having like theory crafting and discussion, which is something we've sort of been incorporating more sort of recently in the sort of in the last year or so when we've been testing in a group. You know, just talk us
personally. So like, I think. So when did we start like talking properly? I think it was like
2018.
I think it was mid 2017. I think
2017 is when we started like properly actually having theory discussions rather than
so
who's going to this regional this weekend.
Yeah, so
oh yeah, I'm going. Do you want to lift?
So I remember. Oh yeah, it was the 2017 ban list when oh no, was it? I think Firewall went to 1 that ban list. It might have been that ban list. It was like just after the ban list after Code of the Duelist, but it was like that awkward format, like when Pendulum was like a deck, but you didn't have any link monsters. So like this was like the week after that ban list like came out, and like, I remember that was like the first time I remember us as a group like actively testing for like a regional, and we were like talking about like this Draco deck like 3 or 4 days out of that 5-day week before the regional, and it was a pile. Oh my god, it was a pile. It was playing spellbook cards. Like
was it True Draco Invoked?
Yeah, it was True Draco Invoked. Yes, it was. Yes.
Oh my god, that was a mistake.
That was a pile. And I just remember that we were all convinced that deck was sick. And then we played it, and Connor like got like 7th in the regional somehow again with no testing. And
Standard.
Yeah, and then like I think someone at the event, maybe even Moffat, played Pendulum, and we were like, oh, this deck is sick. And then that's when like everyone else was like, we're playing Pendulum and stuff. But I don't know. I think 2018 Nats when everyone started like playtesting for the Trickstar deck.
Yes.
That was definitely like the turning point in our circle.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's like obviously like that's when we started the team, and that's when we like grew a lot more.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that was like the only time prior to 2020 that we did that.
Yeah,
But,
we did that.
yeah, we took it seriously, and then we stopped.
Yeah.
But I don't think I said this on a podcast. I think this was just like an internal discussion. But like, as I said, like when Gabe joined, like Marcus went from like, oh, I'll go to this event to like, oh, I want to actually actively be better than Gabe. And then Tristan and Gabe, and then here we are now. Sam has a third YCS top. It's a mess.
Would you say our discussions have gotten sort of more productive as the years have gone by?
I'd never say that because I know what we're like as a group. But, but like, I'd say I feel like we're talking more about the right things than the wrong. We're like, when we're talking about cards and decks, we're like actively trying to improve them instead of like trying to be like more unique, I guess is the word.
I think we've gotten a little bit more open-minded as well, I'd say. Because like the way I've spoken about like 2018 Nats is like we got on Trickstar Striker Mech Knight and we were still wrong. It was like obviously like Goki. And I think if we had a little bit more like open-mindedness at the time, I think
no, I think Goki at that point, I don't think Gumblar was a card. It wasn't legal, but it was legal for Euros.
It was legal for Euros, yeah.
It was for Euros,
and I think we'd already spent like 2 weeks. Yeah, and I think we'd spent 2 weeks of solid. We are playing Trick Striker, and we are only looking at this deck, and we are working out the best ways of dealing with the deck. And then Goki, a few days before, everyone's like, "This deck's good."
To be fair to myself, I did spend the weeks between Nationals and Euros learning all the Goki combos, and I was pretty proficient at them. And then,
now this is where you want to slander me. It's my fault you didn't play it.
Wait, was it Thursday night? Yeah,
it was Thursday night, yes.
We had a 6 a.m. flight to Euros. So me, Mardi, Matazim and Shegroid are sat in the airport waiting all night, testing. I somehow go from my absolutely Goki list to a striker list. Tikaboo. I think.
Which at the time was like well ahead of the time in terms of like.
Yeah, I mean,
it was well ahead, but it wasn't it.
Well ahead doesn't necessarily mean correct because it was not correct at the time.
Like in retrospect, it was probably not like the best idea, but I think it was
it was good for the. I don't think it was bad. I just don't think either of us knew how to play with it.
Yeah, no, that's basically the gist of it. Like both of us were trash with the deck.
We actually thought we could go from with
Kagari into Shizuku.
We could go Kagari Shizuku, but like.
I think if I'd done that earlier, I would have still. Yeah, I think we just panicked a bit and we were like, "Oh shit, half our deck."
Yeah, we were like, I didn't decide it. I didn't know what I was doing.
I think if we gave it a bit more thought, I think we would have like figured out. Hang on, this isn't that bad.
No, exactly.
Because we saw Tikaboo like come up later in formats with Striker, and it was absolutely serviceable. So I don't think we made a bad call at all. I think we were just bad in general with Striker.
Agreed.
Moffat went from placing quite well with Trickstar and Vogue at Nats, and he went, "No, I'm just going to vibe with Pendulum and get top 32." It just doesn't make sense a lot of the time.
I think he just like copied. Who was it that won that Nats that year? No, who came second that year? It was Finn Bakewell.
Finn Bakewell, yeah.
Yeah, so he just copied Finn Bakewell's.
No, they didn't even play Finn's list. They were just like.
Really?
They were just like, "Oh, this means Pendulum is like they were watching a play like Pendulum's sick right now." And then Marcus, him, and Zeki were just like talking Pendulum on the Friday, like they hadn't done it before then. And then
fair enough.
Then Moffat got there, which is insane. But
like anyone else, but someone that like lived and breathed Pendulum for ages, that would be a horrific decision. But somehow it worked for him.
I ended up playing Invoked for that event. Fun fact.
No way.
I played Striker Invoked because I played Toon Table of Contents with Toon Cyber Dragon to OTK through a U-Link, and it happened once on an online stream. It was like a luxury thing, and I literally OTK'd someone through full Goki combo.
That's hilarious.
Lovely.
and then I didn't do that once for the Euros,
Oh no,
but
body throws.
it worked once, so I felt justified in playing it, and it was awful. I think I borrowed like 50 out of the 60 cards I played for that one.
Oh.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay,
All
All
right.
right, we're back. Cool.
Yeah,
Like,
fair enough.
so like the top, right? I can't even remember what the topic is. We're on a tangent.
Yeah.
Is it theory
So the
crafting
next
discussion? Yeah.
theory crafting and discussion. Another
Um,
thing that I found useful was is like watching replays and watching other people play. What are your guys' thoughts on
segue.
that? Segue.
I think it depends how you go about it, because
Yes.
I watch the DB grinder quite a bit, just because he produces quite easy content that's quite easy to watch, and it gives you a pretty good idea of like certain matchups and stuff. But I think it's quite surface level in terms of like what kind of insight you get out of it. It's obviously like super good resources for like learning decks and understanding the meta as a whole, and like what hand traps and other decks people might be playing. But to properly like deep dive into a meta, I'd rather just be on a voice call with like 2 or 3, like much like what we are at the moment, watching replays and talking about it, like bouncing ideas back and forth rather than being talked at.
Like,
Yeah. So like in the last year or so, like during the online era, I was very inactive as a player. I didn't play like online events. I didn't do very much playing. But I did find like it quite useful to like watch replays from like DB Grinder or Sermon on when he posted, and just like the way they talk about the game and just like going through replays. I actually found that quite useful just to stay on top of everything. And when it comes to like learning like certain like decks and stuff, like just watching things just helps a lot. It helps me to like sort of integrate that knowledge. And obviously it's one of those things where you get what you put in. Where when you're watching things, you can sort of pause things and analyze things and take each interaction bit by bit and then just sort of build a bigger picture upon it and build your understanding. I think that's really useful when you do it properly.
Yeah, I think just like watching it and just like watching it just to watch the result of the game is like pointless. Like not pointless because it's like it could be entertaining, but if you're trying to like actively learn and like improve, just watching it to watch it is like isn't actually going to improve you anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
You get as Sam said, it gives you a surface level understanding of like decks and the matchups. But if you really sit down and break things down.
Yeah, like when DB Grinder is watching the video, he'll like go through and say like, "Oh, I think you should have done this," and then like he'll like at the end of the replay, he'll like replay the match in his head, and he'll talk about like, "Okay, so if he had done this and this instead of what he did, then the end result would have been different." And I think that's like the best way to actively improve with your playing.
Definitely.
That's something I do.
Like,
He's definitely got it right. He's making content while improving at the game.
Yeah,
like, that's crazy to think about.
But that's something I do more so when I'm playing games. Especially like at the weekend, like I realized I got a draw with Marcus solely because I was like I needed to get I like talents to Zapalooza, and I was like I was like trying to figure out how to like best use the Zapalooza. So like and he had one unknown in hand, so like I tracer popped it to get value from it. But because I wanted to keep my field spell alive. But if I kept my field spell, if I kept the Appaloosa, I could tracer pop the field spell, and then just like make an access code or something along the lines with it, and I could still combo and make 2 interrupts, which is like enough for me to win at that point. But instead I popped it, and then I got Bailed on something. So that was just me like being ignorant to the one individual hand trap.
This is literally something that comes through with practice with like certain decks though.
Yeah,
like you learn those micro interactions through brute forcing playing the game.
Yeah.
That's like my point as well. Is so look, the way I go about it, which I definitely don't think I do enough of, is so like if I see a deck, like if it's like DB Grinder, I see it like one of you guys is talking about it, then I just build whatever list I see, and then I just like DB solo. And just do test hands to get to like more like a hands-on approach with the cards. Then obviously just like playing games, isn't it? Like, that's for me personally. That's just like the best way to learn a deck. Is just continuously playing games.
Yeah.
I think it depends what kind of deck you're playing as well. Because if you're playing a deck in like the current meta that's got 15 hand traps, literally doing solo mode is basically pointless.
Yeah.
But if you're playing a combo,
for
I think
decks
Gabriel's
like that,
playing
you want to
dragons.
play like matchups and
Yeah,
a grip
100%.
of understanding of like the interactions and where you want to use the hand traps most effectively.
Similarly, if you're playing in a meta with like 15 hand traps, it's much better for you to play actual games rather than.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're playing like combo, it's different because you can say, right, this hand I'm going to get nibbed at this point because this would be the likely point I get nibbed, or ashed on this card or X, and you can still play. But
because when I was doing a lot of my Drytron testing in like solo mode, a lot of what I would do is I would just stream my screen to people. I'd be like, throw 2 random hand traps at me. I want to see if I can combo. And that's how we just sort of go about trying to learn that. And like, again, with the solo mode and just testing with decks and like doing like your own testing, I think it was very helpful to sort of just develop an intimate understanding of what each card's role is in the deck. And it just helps you like develop an understanding of like, okay, this is what my cards do, this is what they're capable of into each matchup, or what they're capable of in general, and you learn to sort of like flowchart and prioritize things in a much more sort of developed way, rather than sort of, because the way I've explained Drytron to people who've asked me about the deck is, there's the surface level understanding of you have these 2 card combos that lead you into Beatrice Appaloosa ultimateness. Whereas when you sort of get more and more sort of developed with the deck, you start to learn and understand that these cards do this. They generate good advantage. They generate value off of every effect that you use. And your ultimate goal is just to end on disrupt and follow up, which the cards do naturally. So it's sort of just developing those levels of understanding and mastery that sort of help you get better at the game, I think, in general as well.
Yeah. That's a very that's a very in-depth way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I usually just vibe.
I think that's how you and Gabe both work. You just like chaos rule vibe, and then just
I don't,
and you just like works.
I've put thought into like some decks where like okay, I need to, but like I don't think I've thought of it as like I'm using like the cards as like stepping stones to get to a goal. I'm just like I don't know, like I'm just like throwing cards at the field a lot of the time, and I'm like, oh,
I mean, you're usually just playing broken decks that let you do that anyways.
Playing fair decks just seems like putting myself at a disadvantage where I don't need to.
Yeah.
Although at this point, like I'm just playing like whatever deck is fun at the moment. When it gets to a point where like we get to like in real life events, I had like a mindset switch at one point where I was like, okay, I need to stop wasting time with like a deck that isn't the best deck, and I want to find out what the best deck is and play that deck.
Yes, I kind of agree with that.
I think that's a skill and like a development in your improvement as a whole. Like your mindset switching like that is like a sign of your improvement and understanding of the game.
But like events get so much easier when you just play a good deck.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
I think I kind of had the inverse because I played Pure Zoo for ages and was crap, and then I played Pure Striker for ages and I was crap, and then I just started vibing with like Cyber Orchestra and Mech Invoked, and it was like cool.
These decks are sick.
No. It's because I think it's more that people just didn't know what to do with them. Like you set a card against Striker and they're like, oh my god, I can't do anything, and you just Mega Fleet and it's like cool.
Yeah.
Game.
GG, bro.
All right. I think the last point we was going to quickly bring up was like coaching and just like people coaching and like coaching services. What are your guys' thoughts on those?
Tristan, go.
Yeah, Tristan's done some coaching.
Tristan's done coaching,
thoughts.
I've done a little bit of coaching. Like some people have asked me, but like it's kind of hard because like the people who are asking to be coached don't exactly know what they want, and so it's hard to like deliver what they would expect. And like if you haven't like someone like Paolo will like have coached a lot of people, so you can kind of identify like, oh, they need help in like this certain aspect. So I know how to sort of coach what he needs. But the one coaching session I did was more so like going over the deck I played and why I played certain ratios and like side decking patterns, which I think is really important for tournaments because it just saves you mind space. Like you don't have to think about it if you just know what they are. And then it was just like literally just playing like ranked games and like talking through a hand, being like, okay, which play do you think you should make? And he'll say, okay, I want to do this, and then if this happens, I want to follow up with this, and then like it was with Trizoo at the time, like before Bear Room, I think. And so he would like say his play, and I would say, okay, I think you should do this because it plays better around this. Like this could happen, but more people are playing like Vela than Ash or whatever at the time, and then you play better around certain hand traps, and then you're leaving yourself with more options for follow up. And then on like your following turn, you'll still have resources, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But like it was literally just like playing a game and then discussing the options you had within the game. I think someone else has also said that like just because you're like good at playing a deck or a good player doesn't mean that you're a good coach, which I think is very, very true. I think teaching and coaching is like a completely different skill to actively playing the game.
Yeah. I think a lot of coaching comes down to you're not particularly good at X or Y. Here's what you need to do to fix it, and sending them on their way. And that doesn't really feel like coaching. It's more like mentoring or like just like an infographic fact sheet, like a flowchart or something. It doesn't feel like proper like coaching in the normal sense of the word.
Agreed.
And you know, if people improve and they're paying for it and they're happy to get that exchange, then fair enough. But I don't know. I've never been coached, so I don't really know what the what it's like for people. But
I've never asked to be coached. I've only ever coached one person, and like one other person like asked for coaching, and I was like, I don't really know what I can offer you. Like I can tell you what I would do with your deck. Does that mean it's correct? No, probably not. Like I can discuss your reasoning with like why you want to play a certain card, but like at the end of the day, you're gonna do whatever you want to do. You're gonna play like whatever card you think is best, and like it'll change for different tournaments as well. Like the best deck this tournament wasn't the best deck for the last tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
and like learning those like qualities as a player is like something you just have to like eventually learn how to do, and it's very difficult to teach that.
I also just don't think it's personally worth the money.
The kind of money people are charging is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how much it is on Draws Academy, but like certain individuals charging like 100 plus. Like after that, like it's a lot to me, just because like I don't think in those like couple of hours you'll get from it, you're learning enough to like quantify it. I feel like a coaching is something like you'd have to do continuously. Like I feel like you'd have to like get several sessions like over like a short period of time.
It's a bit like tutoring, right?
Yeah,
for, like,
exactly.
Subjects and stuff. You have like consistent lessons rather than just like one coaching session.
And as long as the coaching is on like the fundamentals and like how to view the game and all that, it should be a case of this will last you quite a while, because you're going to be continually applying it by playing the game. But if it's literally just coaching about the current meta or like certain decks, then I don't think that will translate.
Stuff.
Yeah, I don't think that will translate very well. Like 4 or 5 months down the line.
Yeah.
I think that some people will like specifically look for coaching like before they're about to enter a tournament, and like they'll pay more so for, I want to make sure I'm going into the best deck and I can play it to the best of my ability, which can be worth it.
With. Yeah, that I kind of like.
Like if you know that you're like playing for a certain prize, and then you know how much that prize is worth, and you're paying less than that prize is worth, and you're trying to get as much value as you can out of those, like you would have to go into it already knowing what you want improving in. Like I don't feel comfortable with my side deck. I don't know how to side deck properly. I don't know how to play against this certain matchup. I want you to teach me that. And if they can do that well, then it could be worth it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's not that. It's kind of more like deck doctoring, right? At that point.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that personally. I don't think that's a bad service, especially like short term. Like if you're doing it like just before an event, like you just want to make sure that your list is perfect. Like I think that's a good use of like time and money. Like,
but I remember there was a YouTuber that offered that service, and he got memed to shreds for it. So I think there might be that kind of.
I think.
Sorry.
I think Jaws Academy Deck Doctor.
Oh no! I think it was Team APS. I think.
Oh,
I think
they
posted that, and then.
I don't know. Personally, like it's not a like.
It's probably different. Like if Jesse Cotton or Raf Nevin's offering to deck talk to you for like X amount of money, it's probably a bit different. But
it's definitely.
I don't know. I think paying for lists is a bit weird.
I don't know if it's paying for.
Like paying for just a deck list isn't the same as like paying to learn how to play a deck.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting deck doctored, I would like if I was going into an event and I didn't know what to play and I was going to pay someone, I want to know what you think the best deck is and I want you to teach me how to play it. then that's different to just I want to see your
deck
deck.
doctor though, is it? Like my
No,
point
exactly.
of a deck doctor is like them perfecting your deck.
Improving, yeah.
And like the way I'd go about it is I'd just want like, if I was like, say I was messaging like paying Jesse Cotton to deck doctor, I'd want him to just perfect my list and give me an advantage, like like be it like for whatever event, like say like Tri Brigade's expected for an event and I'm playing like, say I want to play Tri Brigade, like I'd expect him to provide me with like a way to have an advantage in every match, in the mirror match basically. Like,
But again, that's something very specific that you'd have to be going in with in your mindset.
Exactly.
Like, I want to pay for this, and I want to know I want this result out of it.
Yeah, it's a matter of just knowing what you want out of a session. Yeah.
But,
Just very general coaching is going to be like a very long-term thing.
Yeah.
I feel like if coaching is in the sense of like a like not daily level, like weekly thing, then I think it will add up. But if it's like 2 hours once a month, like, I don't think it's worth it personally.
Especially if it's like about the current meta again.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to drive
so
that home.
fast changing, isn't it? Like
Everything changes like on a week by week basis now.
Especially with like the presence of
the
online.
online
Like, it just
exactly.
so fast.
Yeah, because I mean the meta hasn't really. I mean, Dawn of Majesty's out, but that says like,
there's literally nothing to change the meta.
Yeah, there's literally nothing in that deck to change the meta, and I don't think there's anything really in King's Court unless. Yeah, I don't think there's in King's Court. It's like Utopia. Yeah, but that's kind of waiting for Sharks. Like Zoo can't really play that anymore. But I mean, the deck list that I would expect to see if a YCS were held this weekend would probably be a similar makeup of like, these are the decks that are doing well, but they'd be built so differently.
I feel like it kind of shows as well, because like if you compare the people that top the YCSs to those that are topping like the invitationals and stuff, like the YCS decks were clean, I think. Like they were a lot cleaner. They just felt more complete. Whereas like as we just like looked over the extravaganza lists, just like
there's a couple of bits that might be a bit off.
As we were talking, I was like scanning over some of the other lists, and I was like, "Wow, there is so much to talk about these if we wanted to."
I actually think we could have talked for like 40 minutes about those lists.
100%.
Yeah, but we don't want to be mean. It's
But I mean, this all ties back to like how we started talking about on this podcast is how we've improved as players and how like the turning point of going casual to competitive. None of us have done coaching sessions, right? It's just a matter of like playing a lot and deciding that you want to be good and then putting effort into actually wanting to be good. And the only way to do that realistically is to just play a lot
I think
playing competitively.
I think a large part of it is it's obviously playing a lot more, but it's also like surrounding yourself with similar-minded individuals that are also like looking to improve or are potentially better than you. Like me and Marty play at like one of the most competitive locals in the UK.
And we've both leveled up just off
that. I mean, just like it's fish in a pond, right? You become the same size as the other fish in a pond.
So like,
with
for me personally, like what year is it? 2019. I bought 3 salad structure decks because I needed ash blossoms. And then somewhat, I think it was Nick Burgess, told me just play the deck. It seems like your kind of deck. So I played it. I played it for locals, topped a regional the next day with it, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I played the deck for 9 months straight. And like, I was happy with my technical play with that deck. I just think my deck building was abysmal. So like, I still think that's like something I suffer from. It's like, I'm not the best deck builder. Which is why I outsource.
But again,
the game,
part of being good at the game is good self-reflection, understanding that you have these facets that you aren't particularly strong in.
But
for sure. I think the main gist, like going back to what Sam said, is like you have all these other things like theory crafting and coaching that can like accelerate the process. But again, it all just boils down. It just boils down to the hours you put in, the experience you have in the game, just playing with the right people, with the right mindset, and that will send you well on your way to becoming a great Yu-Gi-Oh player.
Yeah, I'll finish my analogy quickly, but yeah. So basically, like, I was playing Salad, but like it wasn't like I was playing like that one locals a week with Salad. I was
Yeah.
playing like 3 locals a week with Salad, and if
Yeah.
I wasn't playing like a locals, I was playing a regional instead. And like, that was like every single weekend. I was just like,
Yeah.
That's why I was just. I think that just accelerated my process with it. It's like I was playing just like what, like 20, 30 like IRL matches every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were going to so many locals that time. I swear you were going to like 3 or 4 a week.
Yeah, I was literally like what's the Cosy points thing? I was literally like,
Yeah.
I was like 500 points above the next person, like, and I was first. It was oh my god,
Yeah.
it was actually funny. But
Yeah.
But no, I do just think like
Yeah.
putting the sheer amount of games in is what gets you there.
Yeah.
And then wanting to as well.
And reflecting like why you lost. Like
Yes.
I think that's a major thing. So many people put down losses to like, oh, I got unlucky. There are so many other factors that like go into that.
I
See
think-
Sam, he's just triggered. 'cause he knows
I've heard people say, "Oh, I lost the variance too many times."
Yeah,
And
that's
I've-
something
the number-
I need to get better at.
Bro, I still complain about fucking like getting sacked and shit.
Like, of course it happens. Like, what happened to Benny at the YCS was variance, right?
Yeah.
Like, who plays against Gravekeep? 2 Gravekeepers in a row when
And
you're playing
4
Dry Brigade.
striker.
Like,
And
what
then
is
4
that?
striker as well. Like
Yeah,
in
like-
7 rounds, those were my matchups. It was great. Like,
God.
Yeah. So that's variance. Going X3 at locals because you bricked
Yeah.
like
that's not variance.
3 times. That's not variance. That's probably just your deck's not built optimally.
Yeah.
If it happens like multiple times, it's more than likely you're literally the unluckiest person in the world, or your deck's built suboptimally.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like I
Cool.
try and take time to reflect after a locals match. Any time I lose, I think to myself like, okay, what could I have done differently? If I had done
Yeah.
this differently, would I have won? And
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, I had a better play.
I played Gabriel at a locals a few weeks ago, and it was the first time I actually played him in person in like 15 months or something ridiculous.
Mhm.
And I remembered seeing him after we played. He literally just sat at the table for like 5-10 minutes after, going, "So if I'd done this instead of this, it could have potentially worked out. But would that have played around this? Would I have been punished by X or Y?" And like, I don't do that for some reason,
Yeah.
but he obviously is like a
Because
better
you're always
player.
winning, bro.
I mean, no,
You're just throwing
he-
cards at the table and winning.
He ended on seal pass, talents away my imperm because that was my only interrupt, and he just bounces my normal summon because I had no other extender. And I drew an imperm for turn, and I just did that, and that was it. So I didn't really win because I was the better player, but you take him. But yeah, obviously he was still like going through thinking, right, well, if
Yeah.
I'd done X or Y, it would have turned out differently, and like that is what I think you need to do to,
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
if you really want to put the time in, that would be a very good way of using it.
Definitely.
Any closing thoughts? Any closing statements?
Oh, we have practically a regional next weekend.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
Wait,
forgot.
which
The,
one?
the Liverpool event.
Oh, the Liverpool
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will post the cards out tomorrow because I forgot to do that today. But yeah.
Same. But yeah,
Tristan sweats. I'll just do it next day. It's calm. But yeah.
great having you all here as usual. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do that. And
2K
follow us on
Andy
Spotify
now.
as well.
We're a 2K Andy. Oh my god.
We are a 2K Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to keep. We're still on the ground, still growing.
Still growing.
If you haven't followed us on Spotify, go ahead and do that. We upload all the podcasts there as well for your listening enjoyment wherever. If you're on Spotify, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, obviously, and be sure to check out all of our other socials. Links will be in the descriptions, and all of our sponsors as well: the Brotherhood Games, MetaMat, Gamers Apparel for all our merch, and Card Market, of course.
Oh, I did
Have to
Card
shout out all
Market.
the sponsors.
Did Card
Yep.
Market proud. Yeah.
We finally remembered.
He finally remembers. There's just so many words. I wasn't sure you'd get them all. But yeah.
How's
But,
how's
yeah,
totally.
Yeah, thanks
Brilliant.
for watching, guys.
thanks for watching.
See you next Tuesday.